All right, I got distracted by how cool the data is already. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I'm Cloud Hudson, your meteorologist for the evening, and I'm going to be talking to y'all about all the fun things, all the weather things that have happened today. Today is Saturday, February 24th, 2024. That means it is the full moon today, baby. Full moon day. Yay. We love it. We love a good full moon energy. You know, you can see everything. You can see it. I can see my house from up here. You know, it's that kind of feeling of the full moon, the full view, the full picture. Yeah, hi, welcome back, y'all. If you're new here, welcome. Please introduce yourself in the chat, in the comments, whatever. Make some friends here. I would love to see y'all make some little friends. That would be really cute. I'm just gonna start by sharing my screen because, man, fun day today. Fun day. But feel like we're gonna have even more fun things to talk about coming up in the next few days. This next week of weather, y'all, this last week of February is going to be a doozy. Okay, let's start out by talking about Iceland and the Reykjanes Peninsula again. We've given them a break for a couple weeks, and we're right back on to volcano watch again because I don't know if y'all know this, but they got a volcano. They got a volcano giving birth to itself over there on the Reykjanes Peninsula. Just to remind you where we are, we're on the most populated peninsula of Iceland. It's just a little paint splatter shaped island in the very North Atlantic, and these parallel magma storage chambers underground are waking up. Waking up. They're going back into a period of active eruption from a period of about 800 years of dormancy. So let's take a look at some of these these land uplift data stations. Some of them not showing too much, but look at these nice patterns that you can see here. This is the Blalonid. That is the one at the Blue Lagoon here. You can see that the uplift is really nicely defined for it. These start in November because we started watching the uplift in November when there was a big magma intrusion. And then there was a December 18th eruption, a January 14th eruption, and a February... No, wait. Have we gotten... Yeah. February 12th, was it? I forget the exact date. I'm already forgetting the dates, but we're looking. I mean, this thing is trying to erupt twice in February, which awesome. That would be cool to see. But as you can see, we're looking like we've got quite a bit of. Quite a few stations have reached the level of uplift that they were at the last time there was an eruption. Some of them keep going down, though. That's interesting, but I bet that's from the entire thing subsiding rather than it deflating more. Very cool to see. And then some of them you see don't get affected by every single eruption. That's because there seems to be a few different distinct magma bodies underneath, a few little creeks. I think of them more like hydrology or plumbing. It's more like there's underwater rivers of magma and they're little creeks and brooks, and they get stopped up at different rocks and leaves, but the rocks and leaves are actually dense material of rock and different things that it can't go around. So yeah, we are looking for any day now. We're looking for new eruptive activity out of Iceland. Let me see if I can show y'all. Yeah, There was a little bit of an increase in earthquake activity here today, but haven't seen anything super large. Like nothing above magnitude 3. But there's been more small quakes racking back and forth through the peninsula today, and they're at a really shallow depth. So it's looking favorable for some more eruptions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the global volcanic activity, though. Let's see what our volcano news is today. Still looking at an eruption from Lewotolo and Samiro, both near in Indonesia. Alhambra still actively erupting, still getting volcanic ash emissions from Popo. Let's see if any of these. Okay. Given the impending eruption, we already went over this. Most likely, they've published a few different things of what the most likely eruption types are and what kind of warning time we'll get with the different types. All right. This is all the stuff we talked about yesterday. We cannot rule out the possibility that the volume may become reduced even. Oh, this is a new one. Papua New Guinea Manam volcano is starting to degas, so that looks like it might start doing something. Suno's Jima, almost impossible to make out from the weather patterns there. Oh, here's a good look at the lava flow from Mount Lewatobi, that southeastern flank eruption. This is the one that they had to evacuate a small village of like 2,000 people, I want to say. I think, well, a few small villages were evacuated for this eruptive flow. And there you can see a really nicely defined clear path of the Dukono off-gassing. Yeah. Manam has started degassing, meaning suggested a rise of fresh magma. That's exciting. But we don't technically have a change in the number of volcanoes they listed. Let's take a look at first volcano discoveries earthquake meter, and then we'll take a look at the larger map of it. Can you tell what kind of nerd I am from my my targeted ads here? Because I like to get a good deal on audio and visual lighting equipment. You can certainly buy me some audio and lighting equipment if you would like to. There's links in my bio about how to support the channel materially. 5 quakes above magnitude 5 today. Most of them in the lower range, 28 in the 4 to 5 range. And we're still looking at similar areas, looking at a pretty big one here in Mexico. And this seems like it should be south. Okay, I guess it's not Southern California yet, technically. Offshore Northern California, a lot of activity here in the Philippines and in Indonesia. Let's see. Sumatra having a lot of activity. So at 5.0 at Papua New Guinea, also seeing a lot of activity here in the Mediterranean, all over Greece. Really, they're seeing there's a lot of activity over here in Greece, more than usual. Now, I'm used to seeing for this year, for this channel, for the amount of times that I've monitored earthquakes, I've been used to seeing some here in Kyrgyzstan and Xinjiang, but I also in Kazakhstan, but there's also a 4.9 in southern Iran, and one in Haiti, several in Puerto Rico. We're still looking at a lot of Central American quakes as well. So let's take a look at that on a map that can animate. I like to animate the quakes because that's how they happen in real time, but also because I feel like it gives a better idea of how the wave of momentum moves through the surface of the earth. Let's go through all of these, because guys, remember, they're all waves. Everything is waves. They're just on extremely, extremely different size and time scales. So, okay. Yeah, this is from yesterday. This was yesterday's 6.3 on the southern East Pacific rise. We had one in Kentucky, or border of Tennessee and Kentucky today. One here. Is this in or off the coast of Nicaragua? That's like right off the coast of Nicaragua. One here on again, right off the coast of Oaxaca, Mexico, where they had a lot of thunderstorm activity recently. Let's see. Are we going to show? Yeah. The one in Iran, southern Iran, is not too big, but in line. Now, they've only got one reported here in the Aegean Sea, but the last site had lots of earthquake reports. That's probably because volcanodiscovery.com includes lists reports of quakes that are just felt and not just reported by official services. So they probably have a cluster of reports here in Greece because they're getting a lot of like eyewitness reports rather than getting station data. Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan all getting their little shallow quakes. At this point, I'm used to seeing some, what is this, 10-kilometer depth fours? I want to know what's going on 10 kilometers below our surface. What's going on down there? What is that? I don't know why they all happen at 10 kilometers depth, but I need to know. Larger one off the coast of northern Sumatra, here in Halmahera, Indonesia. That's also where we've got a volcano activating. One off the right in Taiwan, we had a 10-kilometer depth, magnitude 5. And then in the Ryukyu Islands, we had this triangle shape of earthquakes. One in Papua New Guinea, still seeing activity here near between Tonga and Samoa. And as we move up in the Pacific, still seeing activity continue in Hawaii and Japan. So now let's go out a little bit and take a look at the what's our weather looking like globally. I'm actually going to start at null Earth. Da 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 ba 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 ba. Okay, here we go. So as we go around the Earth, we are looking at a nice dip down of cooler temperatures into the Appalachians and into the higher elevations of the Rockies, but most of the United States looking at really temperate conditions today. Let's see. Let's look at our relative humidities. I don't think anybody felt hot or humid today in the United States. It looks like pretty nice weather. We actually did get some flurry type activity, wintry precipitation here in the western North Carolina mountains. There was it actually started with sleet and then went to rain, which was pretty interesting. And that to me really tells the story of this like lamination of temperatures here. Like as we zoom in, there's a stacking. There's like a horizontal stacking of temperature layers. Let's look at as we go up through the. You see it smooth out as we go up, but you can really see it in the lower levels. There's a nice like wedging in of hot, cold layers right next to each other. I think that's creating a lot of interesting dynamics at the surface. Like basically some weird little storms. Flowing around the earth. We've got continued wintry weather throughout most of the North Atlantic and throughout Russia. Some pretty temperate conditions throughout the Mediterranean, unless you're in the higher elevations. But let's see, did we have no real severe weather to speak of? We can look at our precipitation accumulation, but that would be isolated to near the equator. We've again got that tropical storm Elena remnants making its way over here. Or is this Lincoln by now? Is this Elena and this is Lincoln? Anyway, these tropical storms are spinning themselves out, making good use of all the heat in the Indian Ocean right there. And this is why it's been kind of hard to see volcanic activity on satellites, because there's whoppers of, I mean, this is a really nice storm off the coast of Japan. That looks like it could do some damage. Not damage, but it looks pretty healthy. Looks like I wouldn't want to take a vacation right now if I was about to see this storm on the, let's look at the pressure. Yeah, that's a decent low pressure center. That's decent. It's not even under 100. It's not even under 1,000 hectopascals, but it's getting there. Speaking of under 1,000 hectopascals, none of these lows look like they're trying to do something special, but they do look like they're trying to line up in a weird geometry. We're looking at a potential, let me turn on the winds again. And let me look at the jet stream level. Okay. We're about to see the upper wavy line and the middle wavy line phase up together. They're going to bring the tropical jet stream is going to bring some moisture and energy into the United States right as there's this nice well-defined jet streak from the polar jet stream that are going to come converge into the US. You can almost see it here of how one swirls this way and one swirls that way. Well, that's what it'll do, but we're going to have, this is a diffluence right here. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Confluence, diffluence. Anyway, we talked about that last time, but these should start interacting with each other once they get over the Rocky Mountains, and we might be in for some nice severe storms at the beginning of next week. So keep your eyes peeled for when this jet streak and this jet streak converge over the United States, allegedly. So-called United States. This is the bit of weather that just passed through that gave us those nice wintry-ish weather today. Let's see PWAT. total precipitable water. So this is why you need the tropical jet stream to meet up with the polar jet stream in order to create a nice, healthy winter storm. You want this to make it all the way up here while this still is trying to converge here. And then maybe they'll do some foldy patterns. And, speaking of foldy patterns, let me just go ahead and transition to, we're already at something that looks as stormy as the sun. Let's go ahead and take a look at our solar weather for today. All right, and we actually had a really nice long duration coronal mass ejection today. It wasn't quite Earth directed, but this can show you, like, it's not a partial halo event, but this is one of the things that we'll see in an extended coronal mass ejection that could put a lot of energy out there. If any component of this was Earth directed, we'd be getting a big hit, but it looks like this is going off to the side. Like looking at I like seeing these little balls of matter coming out. Like, I'm like, what is that? Is that a spitball? Is that a loogie that the sun is hawking up? Or is that some sort of, like, the eye in the peacock's feather? Or, I don't know, like, is that a little spaceship of solar beings coming out? I don't know. I'm joking, but look at how cool that is. There's also a compensating other coronal mass ejection on the other side. Let's see. This one happened just as I was starting. No, maybe it's too fresh. We can't get the data. That's too fresh. Okay. Let's take a look at our dashboard. We still got 3590 doing some really cool geometry up here and talking to the large coronal hole in the southern hemisphere. Solar protons look fine. We have seen a couple we saw a couple M-class flare solar flares today. On the 24th, we had two. Yeah, just two M flares. Still a large, still nothing to sneeze at. I say that a lot after we've had an X flare, and then I get these mid-range M class flares. That's still not nothing, but they didn't really seem to spark many geomagnetic storms or any coronal mass ejections. Because remember, we can get flares without a coronal mass ejection. It's just like not common. It's let's take a look at the coronal mass ejection that we are expecting to have a small component earthward is gonna be this one that launched off of the far side of the sun, or from the solar sunspot groups that just rotated out of sun view. There's like a slight component of it coming towards Earth that's supposed to hit like overnight, like right now, between the 24th and the 25th is when we're supposed to get a little bit of an impact from the coronal mass ejection. Now, this has nothing to do with the X flares that we had. That's a different thing. Sometimes they're from the same thing and sometimes they're not. This is from just a coronal mass ejection that was a pretty large one. One of those, we had a series of partial or pretty large eclipse. What am I saying? Coronal mass ejections, not eclipses. But speaking of eclipses, I'll get to the astrology later. Sometimes this wants to autoplay for me, and sometimes I have to click through it. But the Space Weather Prediction Center model basically shows the same thing of we're looking at, looking at the middle of the day on the 25th being middle of the day, the 25th, into the evening hours on the 25th. And that's in UTC time. So give or take 7 or 8 hours, depending on where you are. So probably gonna hit tomorrow night. Tomorrow, we'll be feeling the change in solar wind first, but then we'll be, what does this computer think I am? Why am I getting 28-day chair yoga challenge for seniors? The closest thing to senior I am is a super senior in college. And that I've been a senior in college for a long time. But now you go away because you heard me ridiculing you. I am here for some chair yoga, though. I would be open to broadening my horizons in the chair yoga fashion. Sounds a lot more like my speed. Comment down below if you would be into yoga if it didn't mean you had to get up. All right, we got a nice southward component on our interplanetary magnetic field, which means that if you're in a place that could probably get some aurora, you might be getting a little bit of aurora over here in there's a little bit of a chance for you here, but not looking too optimistic about that. But wait, let's go back to the let's look at some images of the sun real quick. I want to see this composite together. Maybe. Pretty please. May I see? Sometimes. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome for the first time if you're new here. I'm so happy to have you all. All right. Maybe we can. All right. Beautiful. This is region 3590 doing some really cool acrobatics, having a nice plasma arc. It's arcing over the point that's unstable. So I'm interested to see if we get a mass ejection from this, because this region has already launched those 3 X flares in a row. So I can't wait to see what it does. And there was this S-shaped connection between it and the coronal hole, but it looks like that connection is winding down a bit. You saw some of the discharging here. It looks like this is calming down in terms of that. Maybe that means that these two, they remind me of steam, a pot of boiling water when there's 2 vertical pillars where the water vapor will bubble up right next to each other and you can see the surface interactions. That's what it looks like the 2 ends of this one are doing. I wonder if I can see, do I have digital or do I have video of a magnetogram on here so that I can, no? Okay, my computer's frozen. Cool. That's what I wanted. Let's look at sunspot regions and I can look at that region a little better. Okay. This is the cool part. Look how gorgeous this display is. There's a pinching in the 2. Remember that warm and cool here are indicating positive and negative magnetic field direction, not magnitude, meaning how much, but direction, meaning is it North Pole or a South Pole? Is it the plus or minus? And this is a really funny looking geometry that looks very dynamic. Doesn't look like it wants to be stable. There's a lot of things in here that look like little commas, semicolons, shrimpy boys, the little shrimpy guys, those spirals that are like a nice golden ratio Nautilus type of spiral. Those are nice for getting movement. Did y'all hear that crack on that was my back cracking. Those are some nice dynamic looking shapes. You know how when you're drawing stuff, by the way, if you guys want to subscribe to my coffee. I make coloring books too. If you're drawing something, you can see which wiggles look dynamic just be like based on your visual approximation, because you've only seen those shapes in motion most of the time. This is showing a lot of shapes that look like they're in motion. All of this you can see as swirly, twirly, nice, beautiful, flowing. Doesn't it look like the top of a bubbling pot of something when you can see the effusive stream coming up from anywhere? Anyway, it's really cool. I'm going to need to find more places to get like in motion pictures of this sunspot, because man, it's really cool. Speaking of really cool, let's take a look at our planetary astrology, our planetary weather for today. We are on a Saturn day in a Saturn hour, and we have been for most of this broadcast. And it is currently, we just passed the full moon earlier today. Last night into this morning, we had the exact opposition of the sun and the moon here. And that was in a nice isosceles triangle aspect to the Jupiter in Taurus placement that we've got, in a nice sextile between the sun and Saturn here in Pisces, and in a trine aspect to Virgo. And let's also note that this full moon is really close to the black moon Lilith, and that is when the moon is in apogee, meaning black moon Lilith is not a made up thing. It's a actual way that astrologers measure the apogee and perigee point on the astrology wheel, the astrological chart. So this full moon happened at apogee, meaning it was as far away from the Earth as it gets in its orbit. So this is the furthest full moon that we can get right now. This is the furthest the full moon can be from the planet, meaning that it's stretching out the gravitational pull of, it's not just gravity, but there's a lot of things that the moon's orbit around the Earth keeps in a specific shape, like the Earth's magnetotail, the way that ions and magnetic charge flow at the Earth, the way that it dovetails around the back of the Earth is like kind of shaped by where the moon's orbit is. So the moon is as far out in its orbit as it can possibly be at a full moon. That also means it's getting like the most amount of light. So this has been a really bright full moon. If y'all have noticed, it's been small. It's been a tiny size in the sky, but it's been the brightest because it gets the most curved around the Earth rays of sun possible. Now, this is all happening while Jupiter is squaring Venus and Mars in Aquarius, and they just had a conjunction not but a couple days ago. We're trying to use this constructively. Let's use our duality constructively. Let's use our thoughts, like our hopes and dreams and abundance constructively with our I want to say non-binary. I just keep, every time I see this Venus Mars conjunction in Aquarius, I'm like, it's waves, it's both genders, it's non-binary. It's giving non-binary conjunction. All right. And I think that's where I want to leave it for now. As far as this stream goes, let's go ahead and get a little card reading. charged with selenite. Nice selenite sounds. That was a terrible shuffle. And remember, I do card readings because it's the cosmic weather. I do the planetary weather. I go all the way from volcanoes to earthquakes to atmosphere to sun to planets, all the way to cosmos, because there's only so much of the universe we can know with our material instruments right now. So I use our chaotic, ethereal instruments, cards, shuffling, and vibes to tell what the cosmic weather is. Cosmic weather report. Alrighty. All right. Got two that felt right today. No, this one too. Okay. First one is seeking approval of others hinders my joyousness. If the way you feel depends on anything outside of you, you're in trouble. But if you depend only upon your connection with your own inner being, then everything in your experience falls into alignment. You can rely upon nothing but yourself, but that's okay. And actually, that's empowering. Next, we've got the universe is big enough to fulfill my every intent. Universe is big enough for that. Oh, this looks really cool with my ring light. Ring light kind of lining up with the sun looking rays on the card. I get that. Again, this is mirrored, so it's a little it's a little trippy for me to try to line it up. There we go. There we can see that's what it looks like. Okay. The universal manager has the ability to bring everyone a vibrational match to what they are giving their attention to without depriving anyone else of what they are wanting. So remember, it's big enough to fulfill your wishes and everybody else's too. Just got to intend for that to happen. And it's about where you put your attention, not just your intention. The last one is the universe knows me and the universe adores me. If you will allow it, you will feel the love that flows to you and through you. You are always seen, always understood, and always loved. So, rely on yourself. The universe loves you. And do not look to others for your joy. I know that's really hard because that's really hard for me. But the universe is big enough to fulfill my every intent. The universe knows me and the universe adores me, and seeking approval of others hinders my joyousness, not enhances it. All right, that's pretty good lessons for today. All right, happy full moon to everybody. Have a nice Virgo and Pisces type of time tonight. Enjoy yourself. Take care of your physical health, and have a good night. I love you guys very much. Have a good evening. Goodbye. Bye, 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 bye.